What's up guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Nike Magista Obra 2 in the latest Time to Shine pack colorway. Now of course, this being the latest colorway pack from Nike, we'll go over the details of the color. We'll also talk tech specs and performance features of the Magista Obra 2, and of course take a look at how they fit and feel on feet. But as you can see, in comparison to the rest of the pack, this definitely does seem to be the odd man out, and I'll explain why later in the video. Nonetheless, if you are interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $300 retail price. Of course, being a top-end model from Nike, a string bag is included in matching colors. Always a nice little extra, but the colorway, these are, in comparison to the rest of the pack, a lot more dull. I guess boring is potentially the word, but at the same time, simplicity isn't necessarily always a bad thing. You're gonna notice that the entire upper is that deep royal color. So it doesn't have any crazy transitions of orange or volt yellow like you'll find on the rest of the pack. It's just a solid deep royal, and the Nike skin covering on top is a solid color. So you don't necessarily get to see the Nike skin through the upper, which I like it when it's translucent just so you can see the pattern a little bit more, but they chose to do it this way for whatever reason. A small little detail that you can barely see even in person is that it does have the same kind of diagonal stripes, blue on blue, within the lateral side here, just underneath the Nike swoosh, pretty much exactly like what we got in the Motion Blur Pack colorway. So it's a very, very subtle detail that I think most people, even if they had them, wouldn't necessarily even notice. You have the blue laces. The collar has a little bit of a darker blue within it. It might even be a black, it's hard to say, but it's such a subtle thing that you can barely see it. And then of course you have the Volt Yellow as the outline for the Nike swoosh on both sides, and the Magista branding there on the back. And the swoosh itself has the metallic silver look to it, although it's definitely more of a dull silver, with the small stripe, the small star design, within both of the swooshes. You're also going to have the star design on the insole, which is a nice little extra exclusive to this particular pack, as it is going to be for the players to wear in the upcoming Champions League final. You're also going to find that the sole plate has the metallic silver look to it. Although it isn't a wearable finish, it's kind of got a little bit of a sparkle to it, which is kind of nice. I like the look of the sole plate. And then some of the studs are Volt Yellow in color. Then the only orange accent you're gonna find, unlike the rest of the pack, is just in these three studs here at the bottom. So for the most part, it's just blue, silver, and Volt Yellow, which, again, I don't personally care for how these look, but I'd be really curious to hear your opinions. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Why or why not? Let me know down below in the comments of this video. Now, in regards to overall performance and tech specs, I think the Obra 2 is an excellent boot. What's so unique about this particular upper is its kind of duality in terms of how it feels. It offers a very thin, kind of really good amount of feedback in terms of how thick the upper is, because it is on the thinner side, being a Flyknit base, but they've implemented this 3D texturing system that allows the upper to be thin, so you get that ball feel that you would expect from more of a modern thin synthetic shoe. But because of the texturing being on the outside as well as on the inside, you get this really interesting dampened sensation when the texturing flattens out upon impact. So it doesn't take away from the ball feel that you wouldn't necessarily get if it was just a thicker padded upper. You maintain the feel of a thinner upper in terms of just actual feel on the ball, but the dampened sensation is something that you would expect from something, say a leather shoe, which it's hard to say that this is comparable to a leather boot, but that is kind of the best way to explain it, is that it's a thin upper, but at the same time it has a dampened feel. It's really, really unique, kind of difficult to compare to anything else, but a very interesting sensation that I'm personally a big fan of. I think the Obra 2 is an excellent boot overall. You have the Flywire cables worked into the upper as well for stability, so overall responsiveness is actually quite good with this particular boot. The lacing system is put slightly to the medial side, but for the most part it remains pretty central. Fairly straightforward in that regard. You have your ACC all conditions control as your wet control element. I don't view that as a major feature at all. Internal plastic heel counter. Of course, you do get your dynamic fit collar, the mid-cut aspect, that I think is the best collar out of the three mid-cut models on offer from Nike. I just like the way this one is shaped. It's very anatomically fitted with the bumps on both sides. It curves up on the sides and then down at the front and back. I just think it looks the best. I think it feels the best. I think it fits the best. although it has really nothing to do with performance in the long run. You're going to find that the internal heel liner is a nice smooth synthetic suede material, relatively comfortable for a mid-cut shoe as well. I would say out of the box, this is probably the most comfortable mid-cut boot Nike makes. That's just my opinion though. Insole fully removable, pretty straightforward as well. Mesh liner on top, single layer of foam. Nothing too fancy about it whatsoever. The sole plate is more of a standard TPU plastic. It's got a nice amount of flexibility to it. Ever so slightly stiffer than what you'll find from the Tiempo Legends, but nothing too crazy in regards to major differences. And then of course, the current firm ground stud pattern for the Magista line, that again is very comparable to that of the Tiempos, but I would say a little bit closer to the ground, arguably not as aggressive, more geared towards stability rather than really aggressive traction, but it still does work quite well. No major complaints here whatsoever. Overall though, as a package, I think this is a very good shoe. Not to mention the weight, which in a size 9.5 US, these guys weigh in at just over the 7-ounce mark. So in terms of how they feel, in terms of how comfortable they are, they're much lighter than you perhaps would expect. That's pretty much it as far as tech specs though. Let's take a look at how these things fit and feel on feet. So you can see on the right boot, I actually swapped out the stock blue laces for some neon yellow reflective SR4U replacement laces, just because I thought it accented really nicely with the neon yellow or the Volt yellow within the Nike swoosh as well as the studs. You got something very simple with the stock laces, blue on blue. This just adds a little bit of extra color, which I actually think this shoe might need given the colorway that they've set out here. Nonetheless, if you are interested in a pair of SR4U laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. So I'm just going to tie these up really quickly so you can get a look at both shoes on feet. I really find the Obra 2 to be nice and comfortable out of the box. The Flyknit upper really does have a nice sock-like sensation, and I think the shape of the Obra is fairly unique. It's got a nice snug fit in the heel. It's not too tight through the midfoot and forefoot, but it does come a little bit tighter in the toe box area, which I generally don't care for, but it really works quite well on this particular shoe. It's a very comfortable shoe out of the box, not too much to break in, which again is kind of unusual for a mid-cut boot, especially if you're comparing this to something like a Superfly 4 or the original Magista Obra, which did require a lot of break-in time. They've come a long way since those original Flyknit mid-cut variations. So tie this one up and have a look at both of them on feet. Again, they fit really, really nicely out of the box. The upper is flexible. The sole plate doesn't have too much stiffness to it. The heel feels remarkably good for a mid-cut shoe. Really, the break-in process is all about just taking your time, making sure that you're 100% comfortable. Not a good idea to wear any new boots straight into a game or something like that. But as long as you take your time, there's really nothing about this shoe that should jump out at you as a major concern when it comes to just getting used to them in general. As far as width is concerned, these are going to be suitable for most people. They've got a decent amount of width to them. You're not really going to get too much stretch out of the upper, but the predetermined width, I would say, is, like I said, going to be good for most people. If you have really, really wide feet, maybe not great for you, but I think for most people, you're not going to have any issues at all. And as far as sizing is concerned, the Magista lines runs a half size small. So instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I bump it up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. So that is pretty much it, guys, for my review of the Time to Shine Pack Nike Magista Obra 2s. Again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes. You'll be able to pick these up below their normal $300 retail price. If you have any questions regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments, and I definitely will do my best to get an answer to you as soon as possible. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.